Now we're done with it, low fidelity, we want to move over to the high fidelity. Now, so what I'm going to do is just copy this, the whole of this low fidelity, because I'll be referencing it in the high fidelity, and then go to page and create a new page, and then maybe name it high fidelity. All right. So now I'm going to paste my low fidelity, and for my low fidelity, I'm going to create my high fidelity. So on the splash screen, I want to use, now here's where I pay attention to colors, type, all that. So my splash screen, I'm going to give it, let's say something close to pink, not exactly pink. So let's make this our primary color for this design, and let me make it a, sorry, let me make it a style. So I'm going to name it primary color. All right, and then create a style for it. So that's our primary color. Then this could be pure white. So we're just going to give this white, all right, as our logo. I don't have a name for this, so I'm just going to leave it. I think I like this one as it is, so I'm going to leave it. Then for here, we might want to add maybe an illustration. Then we go to our resources plugin. I could just search illustration. All right, so okay, yeah, this is what I was looking for, humans illustration by Figma. So yes, we could use, this is just a template, doesn't mean it's what I want. So we could use this, okay, and then it's imported, but we need 3, so we could use this as the second one, and then have this as the third one. Okay, so now we have all these frames. Now we have all these. We can now decide to put them here. Maybe put this one here. Okay, put it here in the middle, align it to the middle, choose the second one, bring the third one here, align the second to the middle as well. Third one also align it to the middle as well. Okay, so now we can create our grid by clicking on the frame, going to your right, and then click on layout grid. Now remember what I said about grid. I'm using columns, and my margin is mostly 30 for mobile. My gutter for mobile is 16. So we are going to use this to align our write-up on the first one, and then apply it on all of them. So skip is going to come to this side, and then this shop like a pro is going to come to the left, so it aligns to this grid. And then I like the space between this and this to be 16, so I'm going to delete this because now we are working with high fidelity. And I'm going to write, you can now shop like a pro from your home. And then it's bold is a header, so we're going to change this to a font, and this looks cool for me. So now for my button, remember we have a style guide that we are using, so I'm going to use the style guide of that button. I'm just going to go to my page 1 and then pick my primary button here, which is this, copy it. All right, I'll just copy it and then go to my high fidelity and paste it. So this is the button we'll be using all through. So I'm just going to expand this. Now remember our primary color, so I'm going to change this to the color we picked as primary color. I can't find it on my style, which is this one. So I'm going to pick the color and change this blue to our primary color. So I have to delete this and take this up. So now I have this. I will just turn off my grid so I can see it perfectly. Take this up, and then distance should be like 16 or 24. Now this one goes up as well. Now we have to extend this. Remember, I'm paying attention to alignments now, unlike before. And then this becomes a lighter shade of our primary color. Then maybe reduce the opacity to like 10. And then this becomes our primary color as well. Okay, now this looks good. We're going to delete this once because we'll be duplicating this same thing here. So we'll just copy this to here, copy this to here. Oh, remember this is nests. Okay, so nest here is explore our store. So remember, whatever you put on your button really matters. Okay, it matters very, very well. I can as well change this welcome to our primary color. So it really looks cool. So let's see how this looks in preview state, right? So if you want to preview, click on it, go to your top right hand, you will see preview prototype. If you click on the small arrow there, you will see preview and you see present. So preview will show you the preview while you're still on Figma, while the present will take you out of Figma. So this is a new feature that was implemented recently. So while the preview is loading, let's still work on other page. So look at how this page is. You can decide to use your arrow key to go to the next page, see the next page, see the next page, see the next page, right? Now we've not prototyped yet. When we start prototyping, you're going to enjoy this. I think one of our feature is out of play. Yeah, this is not in the middle. This is not in the middle. So remember, we are maintaining a margin of 30. This is also not maintaining a margin of 30. All right. And then also our skip is not maintaining a margin of 30. Yeah, I could see that from the preview. So yeah. So now let's talk about the home page. So on the home page, remember we said we are going to have images on this place. So but for here, I'm just going to create something like an advert. Let's say flash sale. Oh, sorry, it has to be a text rather. So a text, tap on T, flash sale. Okay. Now give it a big font heading. Let's use heading 4. Now remember we are using 30. So this is 31 and the other part is 32. So this is 30. Perfect. So flash sale, I'm going to align it to 30. And then another font that says online today only. So I'm going to make this like small. And then maybe 8 or 10. Okay, 12 is fine. And then 40 to 50% off. Okay, this is duplicated. Yeah, 40 to 50% off. I'm going to make that header 6. Now my spacing can be 8. Remember, I use multiples of 4 when I'm designing. You can as well decide to use the same thing. So I want to put shop all beauty. So this is for beauty items. You get this kind of discount. So this should be on 16. So you see how I'm carefully inputting my alignments and making sure that this is 29. I need it to be 24, so I need 3 more. So I could just use my height and do that. So now it's like this. I need a color that could fit here. So I'm going to choose my primary color and then reduce it to something like this. All right, this looks good, like very good. So I can change this color to our primary color. All right, or something close to orange. Okay, yeah, this works. And then have the rectangle on here, like so. Now I can add that image here so it doesn't affect my main design. So I could just insert a random image or say beauty, or just put cosmetics. Yeah, this works. So yes, this is better. So I could have something like this. And then on here, I need someone with a plain background because of what I have in my head. So I'm just going to use this color orientation. Yeah, something like this. So this works. I'm going to look for a perfect image that will do what I want. Yeah, this is fine. So I'm going to insert this, yeah, and then have something like a text, or I pick from here and say own, sorry, and say own is duplicated, sorry, own your, or I could just make own first, duplicate it, put it here, and then duplicate again and put style. So I could play around with it. Then this becomes medium. So I can just change this to medium. All right. And then put style somewhere here. And then make it white. Make it white. And we get this. Okay. So we can decide to make it bigger. Can decide to make it bigger and bring it down here. Now it's coming into play. Okay. It's coming into play, and I'm beginning to love the design already. Yeah. So the next thing we want to do is to come to this place. So this remains black, although remember we are maintaining 30. Now for here, we didn't align it. Okay, so now we are going to align all of this. This and this is 17. This is 17. This is 17. And remember, we're using multiples of 4. So I'm going to choose all of them and make this maybe 8 or 16 or 12 or 16, whichever. I think 12 works. Now, I said something about instead of picking this one after the other, there are different ways to do it. So I could bring this here and it's all 12 and it looks somehow. So I'm going to give it a gray color. Okay. And then there's something called auto layout. What auto layout does, it helps you arrange aligned designs in a perfect way. So if I tap Shift A, I think I've talked about this in our previous model, Shift A, turn this to an auto layout. So now I can decide to adjust the space between them just using one part. Instead of picking everything one after the other, I can also decide to use it from here, change it to 8 or change it to 12. Now, if you notice, here is 30, but here it looks like it's 10. So in auto layout, there's something we call the wrap. It's a new feature on Figma. So if I click on wrap and I drag this down and I move this down rather, it automatically start moving it down. So it just adjusts instead of redesigning everything I did. So I'm going to leave this here. The spacing should be 16. And then the spacing between these should be 40. So I'm going to take this by 3. 1, 2, 3. And remember, we are maintaining 30 by the side. So this should be 24. We'll go down. So now remember what I talked about scrolling, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy outside. I'm going to take this part outside. And then men shoes, we are going to go to pixels and run pixels, okay? So we're going to type men shoes. And then look for one. Okay, look for a 9 shoe. I think the first one, yeah, this works. And we are going to click that to put that here. So here, we type electronics. Or let me just say TVs, just to be sure. Or flat screen TVs. Wow. Okay. I think I'll just go with TVs. Or just TV. Okay. So I'll pick a random one actually, since we don't have a picture. Then for toys, I'm going to choose toys. And then for shoes, I can change these shoes to jewelry. Okay. Yeah, jewelry. So I'm going to type drill base, and then I'm going to have maybe something like, I think I love this one. Okay, now I don't want to use rounded, I don't want to use square edges, so I'm going to give all of them a border radius of 16, so they can give me that premium feel. So this is duplicated. I'm just going to delete that. Now, same thing we did for the other one. We are going to apply auto layout to this. Shift A, select this, select this. Shift A, select this, select this. Shift A, select this, select this. Shift A. So now it has given all of them auto layout, but I want the space between the right up and the text to be 8. So I'm going to do that. 8, click 8, click 8. Now we have all of this together. I think this is duplicated. So now we have all of this together. What am I going to do? I want to make this longer. So I'm going to duplicate this and give it another name. Maybe we'll call it phones. All right. Then I have to edit this some pixels to phones. So I can just insert this like so, or this. I think this works best. So I'm going to insert this. So now the next thing I want to do is why I added one more, so it could be scrollable, something you can drag and scroll. So the next thing I want to do is, as usual, I'll make all of them an auto layout, so I can have a same space between them, and I'll just click one and make it 16, and it will apply in all of them. So now I have but before I make an auto layout, there is something I need to do. So I need to group them. Okay, I need to group them first and then make them auto layer, which is Shift A. Now I'll tell you why I did that. So if I take this guy to this place now, take it into my frame, you notice it automatically enters inside the frame, so you can't see what's on the other side. Now if I click this twice, all right, if I drag this here, if I click twice and drag this and I put this around here, all right, it means whatever is outside here will be scrolling and it will end here. So now once I do that, I go to prototype on my top right, and then overflow scrolling, I'm going to choose horizontal. All right, I'm going to choose horizontal, which is horizontal scrolling. So let's preview this page and see what that does. So we are going to preview this briefly, and then now you see I can scroll right, I can scroll left, I can scroll right, I can scroll left. All right, now this looks smooth, very smooth, very, very smooth. So we'll do the same thing for this one. So I'll just copy this outside, I'll duplicate it outside, or instead of duplicating, we could just do it all over again with this one, and later on use this one to do our work. Remember what we did the other time? We are just going to drag this here and then go to prototype and do the same horizontal scrolling. Now let's preview and see. So the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. Yeah. Here, I'm not going to just repeat the same thing because it's the same process with the previous. I'm just going to delete it and then copy these ones and put here. Remember, we are still maintaining 30. So this 34, we want to go to 30, duplicate this with a radius of 16. So yeah, we have this. Now we could decide to make here more fun, okay, by making this place auto layouts. This one auto layouts, auto layouts, auto layouts, auto layout, and then you can also make all of them an auto layout. So they will have a mutual spacing. So we see now that their spacing is 53, and then by the side is 23 and 30. So we can adjust one side, and it's going to affect other. So this is 30, 30. Now, to make this more fun, we can decide to change the home button to our primary color. So this is fun. All right. So yeah, so we have the home page figured out. So let's go to prototype. If you go to prototype, you will see device. You can change your device. You're using iPhone 14 Pro. So if you change your device to 14 Pro and then choose present, not preview. If you choose preview, you're still going to have something like this. But if you choose present, it becomes more interesting. Your design is going to be in an iPhone 14 mockup. So it's going to look like you're doing a redesign on a phone. So here you have it. It's actually looking nice. Looks nice, looks nice, looks nice, looks nice. And then we have this. You can scroll down. All right. So this is the page. You can scroll, 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 scroll. All right. So now that we are on this page, let's do something interesting. All right. Let's work on something interesting. Now, remember, the idea is if you click on that 25, okay, it's supposed to switch this dark. This is supposed to now become darker, and this will take this shade. So there's something we call variant. All right. So in order to do that, I'll copy this out. Okay. And then since it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to duplicate this into 5 places. All right. I'm going to duplicate it into 5 places. And then the second one, I'm going to make this black. So I'll make it black, give it maybe medium. Now I'll change this to light and give this gray. No, I think it's gray 2 also. Let me confirm. Yeah, gray 3. And give this gray 3. Now, the third one, I'm going to make the jewelry black. Make it medium. Then change this to gray 3 and make it light. The fourth one, which is electronics, I'm going to do the same thing. Make it medium. Turn this one to gray. And also I'm going to do this one still light, turn it to gray. And then toys become the onlooker here. So what this means is if I click on that 25, on that 25 becomes bold. If I click on jewelry, jewelry becomes bold. All right. So we're just going to highlight all of this. Go to our top bar here, panel, and you see components. Click on the small arrow there and click on create component set. Now, when you do that, all of this becomes one. Then you go to your prototype and then tap on under, drag it to this one. So it's going to create a line like this, take it to this place. And then once that is done, you see tap, change to this. Now you can put your prototyping method from instance to dissolve or smart animate. So you do the same thing for jewelries, for electronics, take it to where electronics is bold, for toys, take it to where toys is bold. Now, you can as well decide to do it here again. So for all, you do the same thing, jewelry. So you just have to keep repeating it till you're done. Okay, now that we are done with prototyping, which you can see here, we'll just have to click on the first one, hold our alternate key, and drag to this place. So if we decide to now go to present, what happens is this. So if I click on that 25, it changes just like that. All right, and these are supposed to change alongside. So when the website is developed, if you have under 25, you're supposed to see everything under 25. Jewelries, you're supposed to see everything under jewelries. Electronics, you're supposed to see everything under electronics. Toys, the same thing. All right, or then it will show us section. So that is how to do things like the using components. All right. So now let's move to our second page, which is our shop. I see it's distorted, so I'm just going to delete this and just use this instead. So I'm just going to copy this search and use it here. Remember, I'm maintaining 30. So yes. Now for this women aspect, all right, we want to actually pay attention to that place. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick this color. That's I click on I and then pick the color, and then I'll have to delete this, bring something like this here. So I'm just copying some components I've used before so I don't have to repeat the process again. Okay. And then we have, can bring this down and then repeat it for the different process. Okay. Now for men, I want to go with something light. So I'm going to go with maybe a blue, a light shade of blue. All right. I can give these guys radius of 16. Yes, that works. So beauty can also take that of the women, home appliances. I can use a red. I also have to give this a radius as well. Sustain. Okay, so home appliances, maybe a red, light shade of red, reduce it, or something like this. Yeah. Electronics, I can make it a black, reduce it. Furnitures, we can make it a blue, tone it down to something like this. And there you have it. So we can decide to now use pixels to change all our images. I'm using, so here I can actually type women. Okay, and use this. And for men, I can type men and use this. So I'm just going to do that for all the images. All right, so I've completed that. Then remember what we did here as well. So I'm just going to copy. I don't have to start doing the same thing again. So I'm just going to copy this one, remove this one, and then paste it here. Paste it here so that, yeah. So now this is on shop. So I'm going to choose shop for our primary color. And also for the text for our primary color. Then this goes back to the color it was using before, which is gray 3 or rather gray 4. Yes. So now we move to the next, which is favorite. So I'm just going to put random images here from pixels that we normally use. Okay, so from pixels, I'm going to insert random images. So on our button, remember we have a button we're using. So we're just going to copy this our button down here. However, this is bigger, so we have to adjust it. Okay. So this is a bigger button, so we have to adjust the height to like 40, and then adjust the width as well. Or we could adjust it to 32, and then come down here, delete this one since we won't be using it again by now. All right. So once we are done with that, we want to remove this and add text. So when it comes to text, I've mentioned something before, and I say we can use a placeholder text called lorem ipsum. So I'm going to use lorem ipsum folder so we can actually get it right. So I'm going to create something like this and then generate 3 sentences. So lorem ipsum is going to generate 3 sentences for me, which I can compress. Okay. And then I'll reduce the text size, or I delete some of them. Bring this down. Reduce the text size to something minimal. Put it on light. Reduce the, yes, this works. So that now that we have this one, I might likely just delete these other ones. Okay, so I can duplicate. So I can have a duplicate of this one that is already done down. All right, and then just duplicate it further. So just like we did on the other side, favorite becomes our primary. So everything on this becomes the primary color, and that is that. So now the same thing here, we're still going to use our lorem ipsum for our shipping address. Now, if you have the content already, you don't need lorem ipsum. You could just put your content directly. So shipping address will have to be this. Okay, so I'm going to reduce the text to something like this. So I can change this to maybe one of our colors here. This, all right, or this. I can bring it down further to be like this. All right, so we have something like this. Then for this place, we'll have the lorem ipsum again. Okay, and then remove it from black because our header is already black, so they don't contradict each other. Great. Now we can use pixels to add our random image. Okay, and we can take this off. I think I prefer this like this. I think I prefer it like this. Yeah, it's better. So I'm going to take this to this side. 16 works for me. So every other thing goes to the top. So I can close up this space here. So this page works for me. Now our checkout won't be using this button. We have a button that we normally use here. So I'm just going to drag this button down. Oh, sorry. Oh, I still have this here. I'll delete this rather. So I'm going to have this button down. The button is going to say place order. Okay. So once that is done, now remember we have this thing. So I'm just going to copy. I don't have to start creating this again. So I'm just going to copy this and delete this one. Then bring these ones inside here. So they can also maintain the scrolling effect as well. So now we are done with that. Product details, all this, yeah. I'm going to take this off because I have a template here. I have a design here I can use. I'm going to duplicate this here. I'm going to duplicate this here. So the same thing we did for our auto layouts and our variant, we can use the same thing here. Remember, we're using 12. All right, so we can use the same thing here, and as you can see, okay. So I'm just going to duplicate this again. And we have that. Then for casual shoes, I'm going to delete this and use this template that has already been created to do just that. All right. So next one is, oh yeah, let's not forget our bottom nav. Our black has to change to our primary color. So let's always put that in mind. So let's change that to our primary color. Also change this to our primary color. Okay. So now we want to have We want to have men's shoe, so I want to put a men's shoe here. So this next page, we want to now add image, which I've done already. So I'm just going to give it a radius. All right, this is the product page. So the pricing, I like how it is. I like the color. So I'm just going to bring that lorem ipsum that we did. I'm going to look for it and then bring it here as well. So this could be a product description, but for spacing, I'll have to bring the button down. Of course, we'll change the button. The quantity can go here. All right. The pricing as well can move to this place. So instead of being there, the pricing can move here. The quantity can come around here. So for the quantity now, I'm not going to use this again. So maybe a lighter shade. Maybe a lighter shade. Then this rectangle, I want to give it a radius. So I'm going to give it 4. And then also give this one. So for this one, I'm going to give only the top right and bottom right. So this is top right. I'm going to give it 4 or 2. Okay, let's still go with 4 rather. So I'm going to give it 4. Then the bottom right, I'm also going to give it 4. So this is for it to align to this. But I think 3 would have worked better. So let's leave it on 3. Yeah. 3. So we'll do the same thing, or we can just copy this and bring here, then flip it horizontally. Put this at the middle, remember. Put this at the middle, remember. So we can still maintain this for quantity and maintain all these for colors and everything. Then our button, however, remember, we have to change our buttons to this. All right. Then for review, this has to go up. Now, of course, you know the stars cannot be black. So definitely we'll change the color of the star to a good color. So we'll have something like this. Then for our text, we can use the lorem ipsum. So we can make this longer by adding more lorem to it. Maybe auto generate. And then to give you longer text. Oh, let's not forget, our shopping bag will still have to maintain primary color. Okay, so now our design is looking good. We want to look at the checkout page before we start prototyping. So on the checkout page, everything actually look okay except we changing the button. So I'm just going to go with, remember what I said in our class, always keep it simple. So I'm going to bring the color and we're going to change the color. So if you want to add more effect to it, you could change the colors of these to our primary color and the black also to our primary color. Okay, now this looks better. We could also change this to our primary color and this as well. This looks perfect. So the same thing applies to here. All right, so our button, we have to delete all of this and then replace them with our button. So I'm just Ctrl V on all of them and then drag them down, bring this down, bring this down. All right, now we have our buttons. So remember, we have to change this back to our primary color. And then same thing here. Well, since they are all the same, I think I'll just copy this one delete this one, delete this one, delete this, and then paste it. Okay, copy it here, copy it here, and there we have it. Now we have our full high fidelity. So let's present this and see what it looks like. So this is what our presentation look like. If you use your arrow key, so you see, now this look nice. If you scroll down, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. All right, move to the next one, 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 and like that. Now let's talk about prototype in our next video. Yeah, so prototyping is the step-by-step action taken by a user to achieve a particular goal. Okay, so in this case, we want to take you through the journey of onboarding, the homepage, the product deals, selecting a product, and down to placing an order. All right, so the first thing is our splash screen. So when we click on splash screen, of course, there's no action on the splash screen. It means the splash screen had to switch after a particular time. So in that case, now we go to prototyping and then select the splash screen and move it to the next screen. A pop-up will come out. Instead of tap, we'll choose after delay. What that means is after a particular time, what happens? When we choose after delay, we can use smart animate or we could use dissolve. But I prefer using dissolve because smart animate, you cannot control what it does. It acts on its own. So using dissolve, we'll close that. For the welcome screen, there's no action. We'll still use after delay and leave it on dissolve. Then for the onboarding screen one, the button there, we have to tap on it and move our prototype to the next button. Now for the skip at the top, we'll tap on the skip and then leaving the onboarding screen, we'll take the skip straight to the home page. This tells us that when the user tap on the skip, it shouldn't show these two pages. It's going to show the home page straight. Now we come to the second onboarding, put the next button to here, take the skip again to the home page, and then we repeat the same thing for the third one. The third one, we don't really need the skip, so we are going to take it off because that's the last page. So we've done that prototyping for that page. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, so this is our nest, this is our nest, and if you go back, you can skip back to the home page. Now let's go further. Let's assume I want to select a product. Okay, so if I go to menu and I move, since we have a product detail page that talks about menu, all right, I can just drag this to here. So it's going to give me details of this product, all right, and then I can see the details of the product here. At the same time, we can also, while we're still prototyping, we can also choose men, right? And it takes us to the men page. Okay, so on the favorite as well, we can choose the buy now option and take it to this page. Okay, now this flow 3, flow 2, you can delete them. What it means is if you click on preview, it will start from either flow 1, flow 2, or flow 3. So I usually delete them because I don't want my flow starting from in between. Let it always start from 1. Now, when you click on place order, either here or here, let's use this one. Place order takes you to checkout. This also does the same thing, takes you to checkout. So prototyping is just how will the user flow with this product. All right, so now register as a new user should take you to this page. Okay, and then register, continue as guest. If you decide to change your mind, all right, if you decide to change your mind, it should take you to this page. Okay, now select debit card should take you to, select debit card as a guest should take you to this page. Okay, That's why it's good to number your frames. And then also, debit card as a registered user takes you to this page. Cash on delivery as a registered user should take you to this page. Cash on delivery as a guest takes you back to this page. Are we clear? So cash on delivery as a registered user should bring you, okay, debit as a registered user should bring you here. Continue as guest using debit card to pay should take you back to this page. All right. So when prototyping, you need to be careful. You need to pay attention to details. You need to know which page goes to which page. So let's try that flow and see what it's going to do. Now, why this is showing it because there's a second flow that is there, and that's why I don't like using flows. So I just stick to one. So let's flow from beginning. So now we have next, explore our stores. All right. Remember what we did here? Still looking good. And then, all right, something I didn't prototype. So when you come to this part now, the shop, right, prototype to this. Okay. Then the favorites prototypes to favorite. The add to carts or bag prototype to here. So now that I've done that, I don't want to prototype all of them again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this since all the prototypes are there and then paste to replace with this one. It's just going to change it. And then I have to now change my shop to my primary color. This is like the shortest way to do your prototype. And then change this to gray. And if I go to prototype, you could see that my prototypes are still there. All right. So, but I need to delete the one for shop and then prototype home to home. Okay. So, I'll just come here and prototype my bag. So I'm going to delete this also. I'm going to use this again for here. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Now this is favorite, so I'm going to change favorite to my primary color. And then change this to our gray that we normally use. Okay, so I'm going to also, since this is also shop, I'm just going to copy the shop and replace here. So I'm going to delete this whole one here and then put this one inside. Okay, let me check my prototype. Perfect. The same thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to copy this and then same thing, I'm going to copy this as well. Now what this means is that if I preview this page, if I click on shop, it takes me to shop. If I click on favorite, it takes me to favorite. If I click on bag, it takes me to bag, just like that. Okay, so to further prototype also, we want to choose a product. So when you prototype for men, when you click men, it takes you here. All right, it takes you to men. So if we choose men leather shoe, all right, it takes us to here. If you place an order, it takes you down to here. So let's see that flow and see how it works. So first, you can tap on men's shoe to take you here. All right, or you go to back to home, then you go to shop, click on men's shoe and click on leather shoe. It takes you here. You place an order. If you register as guest, it's going to bring this. If you choose debit card, it's going to bring this. If you continue as guest, it's taking you back. Choose payment on delivery, it's taking you back. So you see how the flow goes. That's what prototyping does for you. All right. So in our next session, I'll be um, talking about micro interactions. That is how to add some beautiful effects to prototyping to actually give you some nice animations and all that. But I believe so far you've gotten to um, learn how to design a product from start to finish and also how to do your prototyping. Now, prototyping might take you some time to master, depending on how fast you are. But trust me, it's something exciting to do. So I want to see you prosper and I want to see you do well. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.